Watch this.
Balancing the line between freedom of expression and defending an entire community of Idahoans.
I should be allowed to be in there and not feel like I'm being attacked.
A recent hearing is calling into question what's acceptable for public testimony. 60 seconds of silence. A bill going through the State House would require that students meditate or pray for a minute every day. While it's supposed to improve their mental health, critics say it's being forced upon schools. Okay, this may be a little untraditional in the news world, but that's what we embrace here on the 208. Before we get to the more serious conversation unfolding inside of this State House today, can we just start with a small moment of positivity? Okay, let's do it. Let's look at this. Fourth graders from Parma Elementary School. How cute, right? They were showing lawmakers how it's done by leading them on a walk around the Idaho State Capitol building. It's a part of the Steps for Schools challenge, turning steps into dollars for Idaho. Now, classrooms through the Blue Cross of Idaho Foundation for Health, they were doing those steps for schools, and it delivered more than $40,000 to Idaho schools in 2025. Okay, deep breath. Let's get to what happened inside of the State House yesterday that is now prompting discussion about it today. And let's just say lines were crossed and taken too far. Yesterday, we reported about the E-Verify bill having its full hearing in the House Business Committee. A lot of people testified for and against the bill that would require all Idaho employers to enter their employees' I-9s into the E-Verify database to verify their legal status. Well, during that testimony is when this happened.
Mr. Pettinger, if you'll please come to the podium, introduce yourself, and you'll have, for the record, you'll have 2 minutes to testify.
El jefe, amigos, mi interpreter is presente. Señor Skip Benick.
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Birch.
No hablo inglés.
Mr. Chairman.
One moment, Mr. Pettinger.
Point of order.
Representative Birch, go ahead.
This is not performance theater here. If we can please have straight testimony. Otherwise, I don't think this is appropriate form of testimony for this committee here.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Birch. I agree, Mr. Pettinger. If you can please deliver a straight testimony. If not, we'll move on to the next testifier.
Sí, en español. En español.
Mr. Chairman, could you just put the committee at ease?
Representative Crane, let's do so. Committee will be at ease.
Thank you.
All right, while we're at ease here, we want to talk about this. This is a man we don't usually show on our air, David Pettinger, and that's on purpose. This isn't the first time he's done something like this, mocking a certain race or ethnicity, and we're mindful about not giving behavior like this more attention than it deserves. But today, context matters. And we think it's important for you to understand what happened because there are concerns about how it was handled by committee members. All right, after committee members were at ease for about 4 minutes, the committee came back and allowed him to have 1 more minute to testify about the bill without the Spanish-speaking theatrics. One person following that testimony used a part of their comment on the demonstration and how it was unacceptable that they let him go to testify. Abby Welch spoke with those who led the meeting about how they handled that situation. Abby.
Hunter, yeah, so there are certain rules for people testifying in committee meetings. Those are protected under House Rule 26. That rule says that anyone can participate in committee. It's up to the chairman to decide if things are done in a fair manner. Representative Brent Crane, who called the committee to ease when Pettinger was presenting, Crane says it's important for chairmen to scan the room and see if anyone looks like they will disrupt.
Yesterday was an interesting situation because the chairman of the committee was actually presenting the legislation, so we had a vice chairman in actually conducting the meeting. And I could see that things were going to get out of hand pretty quick, and so then I just asked the vice chairman to put the committee at ease so we could go out back and try to resolve the situation. And I asked him if he'd be willing to come back and we could have a conversation. And we had a fantastic conversation. I explained the concerns that I have as a chairman, that this could get out of hand very quickly if everything starts to become a sideshow. And we have to remember that we're here to just do the business of the people. So if the individual yesterday would have said, I'm not going to comply, this is how I'm going to do my testimony, then we'd have said, well, then we're going to ask security to go ahead and remove you, and then they would have been removed.
House Rule 26 states, quote, nothing in the rule shall prohibit the removal of any person who willfully disrupts a meeting to the extent that orderly conduct is seriously compromised. So Crane says since Pettinger complied with what Crane said lawmakers told him while at ease and came back without an accent, Crane says there was no reason to remove him. But for Estefania Mondragon, who is the executive director of Poder of Idaho, she says she happened to be in the room at this time and says the incident felt like a slap in the face to who she was and what her community stands for. When you saw him walk in, how'd that make you feel?
I was shocked. I had never seen anything like that in all the committee hearings that I've been a part of. Never ever seen anything like that.
Do you think that he should have been removed from the room?
I think so. I think the legislature has been really strict in the past about what you can wear. I know that some organizations aren't even allowed to wear their organization name. So I think that there's a ridiculous double standard there. That this man was allowed to wear a full-fledged costume, not just wear it, but was celebrated by legislative committee leadership. Many of them laughed, and alongside with him. As a Mexican American, I didn't find that very funny, and I have a great sense of humor. I've never seen anything like that in the Idaho legislature before. Before there was respect. There's a sense of respect and a reflection of Idaho values and leadership. And what I've seen is just a disintegration of that, and shame on leadership for allowing that to happen. And shame on them for not just allowing it, but celebrating, laughing. I felt when I saw them laughing, it was like they were laughing in my face about who I am and what my community stands for.
Crane says there is not a rule explicitly spelled out about T-shirts and what people can wear while testifying, but rather it's up to the chairman to decide if something is distracting in the hearing himself.
Okay, Abby, I know you asked this, but did they ever say that this was crossing a line at all?
Yeah, Hunter, I did ask that question. Lawmakers say that, or Crane says that he knows people were offended by Pettinger's demonstration, but that as lawmakers, they can't judge by if someone's feelings get hurt, but rather they have to try to handle situations in the best manner possible. And he says, just truthfully get people's business done.
All right, well, we're going to leave that there. Abby, thank you.
I would call this probably a prop, good gentlemen. So if you want to debate the bill, debate the bill. If you want to do a prop, you can do that in a different way.
We lasted 10 seconds.
Okay, a bill is moving through the legislature that would require a minute of silence, or 6 times the length of silence that you just heard, at or near the start of school days in Idaho. Supporters say it will help mental health for students and teachers, but those against it say it's burdensome and it's a way to require prayer in public schools. Justin Corr joining us now. And Justin, what does this bill exactly say?
Well, Hunter, yeah, let's go through the language first. House Bill 623 is what it is, and it would not just allow, but actually require public school classrooms provide a moment of silence for students of at least 60 seconds at or near the beginning of each school day. Writers of the bill say it's to pray, but also reflect, meditate, or whatever silent activity, as long as it doesn't interfere with other students. Public schools also cannot provide instruction on the nature of the moment of silence. Lawmakers debated this on the House floor today. Opponents think the moment of silence might be helpful, but they don't like mandating it.
Struggling with the constant regulations we're putting on our public schools. We're just regularly and onwardly and continually telling them what they can and can't do and making their jobs harder. I know 60 seconds doesn't seem like a lot, but sometimes it's hard to get us to be quiet for 60 seconds. The gentleman in the back row proves my point.
Now, supporters say, though, there are mental health benefits to things like this, and they also want prayer back in schools.
There's health benefits, neurological benefits. All of those things are good. We want our kids to have a good experience at school. We'll give them a chance to just think for a minute. You know, if you go back more years in this country, we started every day of school with a prayer. Did that for a lot of years. Didn't seem to be a burden then. Our courts came in and said you can't do that anymore. So we stopped doing it for a little while. And now we're just getting back to a little bit of that, just for a minute. Let's just think, let's just relax. I don't think that's burdensome.
And the ayes do have it. Bill passed fairly easily, 51-17, now heads to the Senate.
Okay, the bill requires a moment of silence, but as you heard Representative Monks talk about prayer in schools, prayer's allowed in schools, right? Just as long as it's not required by the school?
Yes, and Hunter, let me preference this by saying I am not a lawyer. Shocking, I know. But the Supreme Court back in the 60s, 62, said a public school could not endorse or require religious activities like school organized prayer, but they also ruled that students can practice their individual religious beliefs like praying in between class or just praying to themselves. It's like, please, Lord, let me pass this pop quiz.
Many moments where I hoped I
Many
passed that
moments
pop
like
quiz,
that.
man. A lot of moments. All right, Justin, thank you. Another bill this session that would clean up the paperwork for drivers. House Bill 533 would eliminate the requirement for drivers to put their registration stickers on their license plates. Well, today, the state Senate took the issue up on the floor. Supporters say it's already difficult for law enforcement to see those stickers and that they can track down an expired registration through digital technology. Another pro, they say, saving cash.
This bill frees up an estimated $300,000 for the Idaho Transportation Department to use for other efficient and more productive programs. In a year where, you know, money is a little dry, I think this is could be a good thing for the state.
Like the paper-free registration bill, those against it are worried this could place police officers in a vulnerable position if they have to pull over on the side of the road and then look up the driver's registration. So there's also concern it would be a time-consuming process.
Quite a few people drive around with expired tags. Now they're using our public roadways and they're not paying their fair share of the cost of maintaining those roadways. For a police officer to know or have a reasonable suspicion that a person's registration is out of date, he needs some sort of a clue.
All right, that one was 31 yeses and 4 noes, so it's heading to the governor's desk for a signature. responders are utilizing a new tool, drones. The technology is meant to improve response times and help officers assess a situation before officers are able to arrive at an incident. The Caldwell Police Department recently started using drones. They can reach most 911 calls in under 2 minutes, day or night. So far, CPD drones have responded to more than 260 dispatch calls. The Washington County Sheriff's Office in Oregon is also implementing this technology. And as our sister station there reports, it's already proving to be a success.
The Washington County Sheriff's Office has a new tool when it comes to responding to calls.
Our drone program has been going for years now, so this is really just an addition to that toolkit. But it's really exciting to see this program lift off.
It's called the Drone as First Responder program, and it just took off earlier this month.
So DFR, or Drone as First Responder, allows our pilots to be in a remote location in a control center and then launch those drones from any part of the county where we have those pods situated.
The Skydio X-10 drone takes off from another facility about 3 miles away from the East Precinct. Deputies are watching like a hawk to make sure they are going to the right call. They can even control the drone by using these Xbox controllers. This technology allows the drones to even follow the deputies on their calls by tracking their body cameras.
Even the first day we were seeing successes. We had a deputy respond to a DUI that was being followed where the person that called them in had lost sight of them, didn't know the address, but the drone found them right away before the deputy arrived.
And over the weekend, one of the 2 drones was launched to help make an arrest in Aloha when deputies were serving a warrant and the suspect ran out of the house to try to escape.
The drone could see the back of the house and see the suspect trying to escape out the back.
In this video, you can see the suspect eventually getting taken into custody, a program that's already helping the sheriff's office go to new heights when it comes to going out on calls.
Well, back here in Idaho, after input from people living in the community, Caldwell Police has named their drones. There's 3 of them. 1, Coyote for the College of Idaho Yotes, Cougar for Caldwell High, and Cowboy for the Caldwell Night Rodeo. All right, now to the 411 on the 208. The woman arrested in connection to last week's stolen ambulance crash into the Portico North building in Meridian pleaded not guilty. She had her first federal court appearance today. Last night, Meridian police identified the suspect as 43-year-old Sarah Elizabeth George of Boise. George pleaded not guilty to 3 federal counts. That includes 1 count of malicious destruction of government property by fire and 2 counts of malicious destruction of property used or affecting interstate or foreign commerce. A jury trial is set for April 20th. Idaho Governor Brad Little is now officially on the ballot. He filed for re-election today. In the announcement, Little says he's grateful for the endorsement of President Donald Trump. Little submitted his declaration of candidacy to the Idaho Secretary of State and will appear on the May 19th Republican primary ballot. His campaign reports a war chest of nearly $1.5 million. Avalanche danger in the Sawtooth Mountains is high today. The Avalanche Center says all zones except the Soldiers and mountains around the Wood River Valley have a high danger level. The center says avalanche danger will rise throughout the day as a storm hits the area, and that you should avoid all avalanche terrain. That includes slopes above, to the side of, or below. And that's the 411 on the 208.
Well, we had anticipated a super soaker today, and Mother Nature certainly delivered. These are our precipitation totals since midnight. Half an inch of rain has fallen in Boise. That nearly doubles in one day what we've seen for the entire month of February. Twin Falls at 46/100ths of an inch has shattered a daily rainfall record for February 24th. And we have seen snow up in the mountains, anywhere from 6 to almost 10 inches at many of our area ski resorts. That is good news, but that is high elevation snow. You can see in our live look from Skycam 7 that snow line has crept much further up the mountains than just about 24 or 48 hours ago, as this has been rain falling on top of snow below about 6,000 feet. It is creating some dangerous conditions up in the mountains. Highway 21, Avalanche Alley, is shut down as per usual with a system like this. Not a big surprise, but still, if you have travel plans that direction, make sure you look for detours and find alternate routes until things improve up in the high country. We're sitting at 46 degrees in Boise right now, overcast and damp, but as we look at our satellite and radar picture, radar, of course, more important to us today, that's our precipitation picture. We are slowly starting to see that persistent rain tapering off from west to east, but you get out to Mountain Home, Glens Ferry, on into the Magic Valley, it's still a steady rain and likely will continue to be so for several more hours. So we have first alert weather conditions in place for the rest of this evening due to that widespread precipitation that will slowly taper off as we inch closer to Wednesday morning. Mountain travel will remain tricky in spots, especially where that snow has fallen and where we have seen, especially in Boise County, I've heard of some rocks on the road as that soil is loosened from all that heavy rain. So just use caution as you're traveling. Valleys will stay soggy. Ponding water could still be possible through the evening hours. So plume of moisture will slowly shift south tonight, but then we are seeing a cold front that will drop in from the northwest tomorrow. That will lead to windy conditions. Wind, especially east of Boise, is our big headline tomorrow, though we will see some lingering precipitation in the morning. By tomorrow afternoon, wind gusts in Twin Falls could be 30 to 40 miles per hour. That, combined with relatively cool temperatures, especially in the morning, will keep a brisk feel to the air. So Futurecast shows, again, showers will slowly taper off as we head into the wee hours of Wednesday. Here we are about 1 o'clock in the morning. Mountains still seeing wet weather, but as that front rolls through tomorrow morning, quick little burst of showers possible for the Treasure Valley through midday. Then it all clears out. We're left with a breezy but sunny afternoon, and temperatures will actually warm tomorrow as our rain-cooled air moves off and the sunshine emerges in the afternoon. So morning lows still abnormally mild. We'll wake up to low 40s across the lower elevation, so I'm not expecting any snowfall across the Snake River Plain. Much too warm for that. High temperatures tomorrow get into the 50s across the Treasure Valley, 54 from Mountain Home, 56 in Ontario, with a few showers in the morning and then that wind in the afternoon, especially in the Magic Valley, where highs will hit 50. Our mountains will see mid to upper 30s, places like McCall and Stanley. A couple more inches of snow still possible in the mountains tonight, but all of it is over and done with by tomorrow afternoon. We see temperatures drop a bit on Thursday, then we're back to the mid-50s for the weekend, pushing 60 by next Tuesday. All right, let's check on that traffic at 522 on your Tuesday. As per usual, the connector starting to stack up. That is one of our only trouble spots right now, those westbound lanes getting out of downtown Boise and coming from the airport area. You may tap the brakes just a bit heading out from the 10-mile area, maybe closer to Garrity, but really westbound I-84 looking good right now. Eagle Road, not a surprise there. Also seeing slow and go conditions, but so far so good. Pretty smooth sailing despite the wet roads on your Tuesday.
All right, let's get to some of your comments. We have Evan in Ada County who says the committee should have recognized his performance did cross the line. Shame on them. Now, what is that line to cross? I would love to know how far it has to go. Okay, next question. Good luck getting 40 second graders to sit quiet, silent for 60 seconds. Mike, now, yeah, I gotta say my niece and nephew, there's no way I could get them to sit that quietly, but it would be interesting to see it happen. And then lastly, we have Curtin Eagle. We can finally get to your question, who's been so patient in getting the answer. He says, did you ever find out how to subscribe to Betty's, the 9-year-old's paper? At this time, the family says Grandy Gazette is for family and friends, but she's very flattered and might just put it out on public circulation.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.